Hello?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll go ahead and get started. As you know, we were previously with Dallas County Schools that provided our transportation services, and so as we've brought our transportation department back in-house, we've had to find another solution to help reserve our buses for any field trips. You'll still have to do the field trip form online, but to reserve your buses, this is how we're going to show you how to do that in our new system, which is a InfoFinder. And so, as you look to go to the form, if you go to the staff portal and under field trips, you can click that, and it'll come up with three different options. Here's your field trip procedures, your out-of-state field trips, and then request transportation for field trips.
You got people that cannot hear you.
Okay, let me see here. Can everyone hear me now? Okay. So, to request a field trip, like I said, on the staff portal, you'll just go to field trips, and then you can do request transportation for field trips, and it'll come up to the new link, and it's https://infofinder.transponder.com. On this screen, this is where it's your login where you email. As you log into your email, but the password is actually password. And then when you go in, you can change that to whatever password you want to use. What we've learned, this is not tied to Active Directory, so if your password changes on your email, it won't change here. This password is going to stay the same until you change it. And so you'll just need to log in with your password, and then on the screen, transportation has provided you some notes, some important things to remember as you're entering your trips. The first one is we want to make sure that you put your field trips in 10 days in advance. This gives transportation enough time to reserve the buses and their drivers, and so that just gives them enough time so to make sure that we can accommodate all your requests. If you have we do know that things do come up, and sometimes you have where you made the next level.
You still got some that still say they can't hear, so maybe we could turn up our volume.
Okay. And so, as so we just want to make sure if there are exceptions where you can't meet the 10 days, you'll just need to contact the transportation department, and they will be able to work with you to see if they can accommodate your request. The second one on drop and return trips, those are a minimum of 4 hours. Like I said, if either leg exceeds the 2 hours, then your trip will be billed at the actual time it takes. Day trips, because our elementaries are getting out at about in the 2 o'clock range. We want to make sure that the buses are back by 1:30. Like I said, we do know that there are exceptions, but we want to make sure that at all possible those trips are back at 1:30. And if you have any special instructions that's for the trip, you can include that in the directions or notes field. And also, if you have any questions, you can email cfbtransportation@cfbisd.edu, or we have our trip dispatcher, our night and weekend dispatcher, and the transportation main numbers listed on this home page. And so, as you log in, you can also, I said that the password is password. You can come in here and change it.
Excuse me. Is the password that I'm typing in, is it a capital P? Because the password I'm trying to type in isn't working.
No, it's just a lowercase. It's just all lowercase.
PASSWORD, because I'm trying to log into it to follow along, and it's not allowing me to do it.
Okay, we can, if you'll email us, we'll make sure that we get you the right credentials for you to log in.
Just make sure that all the letters you're using are all lowercase, last name, first initial, and then the word password. Everything is lowercase.
Okay, who do I need to email to get permission?
You're going to email cfbtransportation@cfbisd.edu and just go ahead and let us know that, and we would go in and look at it. If not, we can get with TransFinder to try to figure out what's the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is where you would just under options, then change password, then you would just come in here and type in the old password and then your new password that you want to change it to.
Okay, so let's slow down. We are still having people who are having trouble hearing. I need everybody that is trying to be on, make sure that you link through your email of the WebEx meeting. If you link through the WebEx meeting, you should be able to hear.
Okay. Trying to hear it on the phone, on the computer. Also, you can use the phone number at the bottom to call in, and you can hear it over the phone as well. And so whenever it's time to enter your field trip, you'll go to the field trip tab, and then you just hit select the new field trip. And it just it brings you up just to a one-page document. At the top, you'll see that you'll have it'll remind you that you need to request these in 10 days in advance. If you select say like September 28th, and then when you hit the save or the submit button, it'll give you an error message saying that it's not 10 days in advance. And so on those situations, that's when you'll have to contact Transportation Department for that to be worked out. And so whenever it's pretty self-explanatory, you'll just need to input the field trip. And then under your school, most of you won't have a drop-down like this. If you're a fine arts teacher, then you're going to see your only school is fine arts. And if you're at a campus, you would only see like a Field Middle School or Davis Elementary. You won't have a list. Our coaches are going to see this one, athletics and / athletic. And so, and then the next one is your department. You would just need to select the pertinent department that you have. A lot of you won't. It'll just be a limited number. So you would just select the one that's pertinent to you. The activity, you can select an activity if it's a campus or if it's a choir or football. You'll be able to select the activity here. On your contact, you'll need to put your name, and as for the phone number, this is the phone number that if the bus is getting ready to pick you up and they can't locate you, you'll need to provide the phone number where you'll have a phone on you, like probably your cell phone, because if you just put your work or your class phone, then they won't be able to reach you. The email's not required, but if you want to put that in there, that would be okay as well. You'll need to put the departure date. You come down here and select the date, and on the times. These are only in 30-minute increments. We're trying to see if we can't revise that, but right now it's going to only allow you 30-minute increments. And so if you need it to be picked up at 4:45, you can just state that in the notes. And then on the return, you just same thing. You'll just select the date and then put in the time. And then the departure. This is where for your fine arts and athletics. This is where you select if you're a fine arts teacher at Smith. Then you would have to come down here and select Smith High School. And then you can put in your notes of pick us up on the east side of the building. Just any notes that would be helpful for the driver to help them know where they should be. On the destination, this is the destination. You have to pick from this list. So if you scroll through here and you cannot find the destination you're looking for, you'll have to email that CFB Transportation, and they can add that pretty quickly. One of the quirks that we've noticed is that if you, in an instance, is like John Clark Stadium or Clark Stadium in Plano, start typing Clark here, it's not going to pull up. So what we found though is if you
I had to use my Chromebook.
put the drop down box and then hit Control F.
The red button down at the bottom, like a little microphone looking thing. You want to come over here?
You guys have to make sure that you mute your phone so everybody can hear. Please mute your phones.
And so if you click the drop-down box and then hit Control F and then come up here to the search menu and then type in Clark, you can see there's Herman Clark. That's not it. And if you push the down arrow, you can see that appears John Clark Stadium. And then once you choose that, then the street, the city, the state, and zip code appears. You can put any contact information of the place you're going to, title, phone, email, any notes that's pertinent. Please drop us the west side of the building, and any other things that is helpful. On the direction field, you don't have to put anything there. You don't have to put any step-by-step directions, turn by turn, but anything that would be helpful to the driver to get you where you need to go. And then the equipment. This is for if you need a vehicle with a wheelchair lift, if you're going to be transporting kids where you have to have a safety vest or star seats, you can select that. If you find that the equipment is not in the drop-down box, again, please email the transportation, that CFB Transportation email, and they can add to this list. And then the classification, the DNR, that's just your drop and return, and the standard is just a standard classification. On this field, you'll just need to type in the number of students that you'll be transporting, the number of adults, the number of wheelchairs, and then the number of vehicles. You don't have to do anything on the estimated miles or hours. The estimated cost won't populate until the transportation department puts in a driver and selects a bus. And so what that does, and then they have to fill in the billing classification. All these buses, all these trips are going to be billed at $40 an hour. And so once the trip completes, whenever the transportation department is going to go in and put in the actual time that was spent on the field trip, and then that will be populated with, it would be if it was 4 hours, it would be 4 times $40 for $160, and $160 will be populated right there. But you won't, when you first submit or save the field trip, it won't be populated here because a driver or a bus hasn't been assigned to this field trip yet. And then the last thing that you'll need to do is select your account code. There's a long list of account codes. All you need to do is just kind of locate the code that you're using. If you can't find it, you can on this field input a code here, like a free form. But I think we've pretty much included all the account codes. If you find one you can't, just email us and we can add it, or you can add it in there. You don't have to put anything in the amounts or the PO. This will be filled in by the business department. And so, and those will be done at the end of each month. We will do that journally just like we did when we were using DCS. And then once you've completed your trip, you would just hit the save button, and that will be submitted to the next approver. And so just a little bit on the approval process. Like I said, if you're at a campus, if a secretary is inputting the trip, then it's going to go to the principal to approve, and then to transportation. If you're a fine arts teacher, you're going to you'll input that trip. That's going to go to the fine arts department, and then to transportation. If you're a coach, athletic coach, it'll go from you to the athletic department for approval, and then to transportation. So it's just a one-page form. It's pretty simple. It's probably pretty similar to what Powerfleet was but what Powerfleet was, it was just a little bit different. And so the other thing we want to show you is if you have a trip that is drop and return. And what you'll need to do if you have a trip that is drop and return, come up here to the top where it says template, drop down box, and you'll just hit drop and return. And what it'll do, it'll populate this dash and then parentheses too. And what that does is that lets our transportation department know that this is a drop and return trip. The only other thing, everything else is the same except for this notes field. And then the transportation department will fill in the times based on what you input here. Donna can kind of
Okay, so on your drop and return, okay, let's go back to the top. Once you drop the template down to drop and return and you get that -2, please don't take that out. Just add your trip name to the side of it, and we can go from there. Everything else at the top is still filled out exactly the same. When you get down to your departure date and time, if the trip is leaving on Thursday and coming back on Sunday, make sure that you enter those dates, the time that you want to be picked up. So, and then the return in the section down at the bottom where it says drop time, that will be filled out by us because everything is in a 2-hour increment per drop or return trip, and that will be the same as a one-way trip. Your one-way trip is still based off of a 2-hour minimum. So each leg of your trip is a 2-hour minimum. However, if it's a far-away trip like to Forney or something as a drop or return, it is based off the actual time it takes that driver to take you and bring you back. But all you have to do is fill out the time that you want to be picked up and the time that you want to return back to the campus. We'll fill out the other part.
Okay. And so, like you said, the transportation will come in and fill this based on the times that you put in your departure and your return. I believe that's kind of it's like I said, it's just a one-page document. You can, when you do your field trips, you can always come back to this screen and see where your field trip is. You can search to see okay, go ahead. Donna's going to talk about.
Okay, so can we go back to the template, please? Once you go back, we're going back to the template. If you have a trip that has multiple pickups or multiple drops, unfortunately, there's not a drop-down window for that. You will have to actually, in the departure notes, all the pickups. So if you're going from, the first pickup is Fresno, and you guys are sharing with Davis and Rainwater, so your first pickup will go in departure from Fresno. In the notes, you'll put Davis and then Rainwater. You want to put them in the order that you want them picked up. And then in the destination, if you are in a tournament or you guys have more than one destination as far as like going to lunch at the park, your tournament is at 2 different schools, you want to go down to, I think I'm talking faster than he's typing. You want to go down to your destination notes, and you're going to put the original destination in the slot, in the drop-down box, and then your second destination, the third and fourth, you'll have to type it into the notes. And then that way the driver is aware that they have multiple stops, multiple destinations, and it's already, all that is approved by your admin, that is the approver. And they are aware that we are making several stops along the route. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and type it in the chat box so we can address your questions or concerns. Kind of didn't want everybody to talk over the line because it can get a little crowded. But if you have any questions or concerns, type it into the chat box and we will address them. So the first question is, will we get email confirmation once we have completed the order? Yes, you will. The person who is requesting the trip should get it, and the person who needs to approve would get an email letting them know they need to approve it. The principals will get an email letting them know that you have entered a trip that they need to approve. The next question is, how will we get invoices for budget purposes?
Well, we are trying to decide a report that we can provide or print out, and so it'll be kind of something similar to what we used to get in PowerFleet. It's not going to look the exact same way, but it'll be something similar. That way we can provide you with invoices.
Ms. Lloyd, once you log in, you should be able to see all the trips that are for your campus or that you have ordered. And if you do not see them, email transportation at CFB Transportation, and we will look it up to see if it's in the process of being ordered or if you need to put that in. Ms. K asks, initially you said something about each trip minimum cost of 4 hours or 2 hours. Each trip, he was saying that it's $40 an hour. Drop and returns are a minimum of 4 hours. One-way trips are a minimum of 2 hours. That's what you'll be charged. Whitaker asks, for football, we use 2 regular buses and a small lift bus. How do we request all 3 buses for the same trip? Okay, so what I would do is I will put down in your vehicle number how many buses you're asking for, Whitaker, and then I will still use the equipment drop-down for a lift bus. That will allow us to know that you need one lift bus. And you can always put that in the notes. You can put that in your notes, what you're asking for. For destinations, it says, did you say they use Control F or Control S?
That is Control F.
F as in Frank. For multiple days, same trip, 4th grade. So, Ms. Linda, you can make a template for your Natatorium swim, and all you have to do is change the date per one. But you can make a template that will fill out with all your information, and it will stay the same. Ms. Susan asks, will you show us how to approve a trip?
Yes.
While he's doing that, Mark, Mr. Shalhorn, yes, you can look that up either by the trip number, because at the end of your request, you'll get a trip number that'll be 00 and then 3 numbers. You can look it up by your trip number, you can look it up by your date, or you can look it up by the campus on that front page.
And you said a template, because that probably would work for my process as well.
Yes, sir, because you have the outdoor learning. So, yes, sir, you can make that template, and then that way all you have to do is change the date for each one.
And is that right at the top there in the drop-down boxes where you make the templates? I didn't see where that was.
Yes, sir. You can create a template, or you can tell us that you want us to. If it doesn't allow you to create it, which it should, you can just let us know, and we can create that template for you.
Okay, great.
So how to approve a request? You're going to get an email saying you have a trip is waiting your request. You'll just come in here. You'll come in here and you can just hit request status, level 1 submitted, hit search button, and it'll come up in yellow. You can see on the kind of the right-hand side, you can see the yellow. The yellows are the request submitted. Level 2 is this color. It's kind of small, but that's where it is. And so the yellow are, you can just click this, then you'll say level 1 submitted, and it'll say to change the status to. All you'll need to do is click this box and hit, kind of another quirk of the system is all the approvers are level 3 approvers, and so you'll just need to pick level 3 request approved. Come down to the bottom, you can see all the things that were submitted, and hit save, and then that approves the request.
So if I'm the one entering that, and most likely the same as the one who's approving it, will it automatically do that, or will I have to approve it if I'm the number 3 person entering it?
No, you should. You shouldn't have to approve it if you're entering it.
Okay.
It'll go straight to the I believe.
Okay.
Yours is gonna go straight to the transportation department.
Okay.
Okay, you asked if you had to do. You asked about your swim run for your natatorium, and you said that it's a shuttle. We'll put it in there that it's a shuttle run. There's a template I could make for you to use, and it would say that it's a shuttle, and everything will just fill out. So they'll drop one group, come back, drop the other group, and then take them back and forth. So we can always fix that for you. How many students can fit on a bus? Our large bus is a 77 or 71 passenger bus. However, we only recommend that pre-Ks are set 3 to a seat. It can fit to about 60, 65 pre-Ks, and then you would downsize according to the grade level that you're using it for. I wouldn't put a high school group on there and expect to fit them. I would fit maybe about 50 high schoolers on the 77 passenger, because most of them have to sit by themselves, how tall they are, or to that extent. But for the most part, our large lift bus could hold to 30 students in a wheelchair. Our regular size buses, I wouldn't put more than, like I said, 50 high schoolers, about 55 middle schoolers, and 60 to 65 pre-Ks and little people. Can we make this training video available for teachers who are not listed or invited? Also, who will get the approval emails?
Yes, we're recording this training today, and so it'll be available. Daniel's going to have to help with that, but yeah, we'll make sure it's out there somewhere for you to look at. Approval emails will go straight to the approver, which will be either your principal or the athletic department or the fine arts department. They will automatically get an email stating that you have requested a trip. And again, like he showed you, it would pop up in yellow for them, and that will remind them that they need to go in and approve your trip so we can fill it. Okay.
Regina, I have one more quick. Since I did the temporary form and requested a bunch of buses in the last 2 weeks before this was developed, is there a way I can now go on and look to see if those trips are there and posted at this point?
Yes, you can go, once you are logged in, you can go ahead and look up the trip name or the dates that you put the trips in for, and if you do not see them, you can email transportation and ask, are they in the process or have they started? If they have not, then you can go ahead and complete your order yourself. But if they're in the process, she had to drive yesterday, so there's a possibility she hasn't put them in yet, so I will get with her, but I will send an email if you do not see them.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Benton asks, does anyone with a CFB email have access to request trips, or do they have to get a login and set up? Yes, they have to get a login and set up. Everybody does not have access to order trips. The next question from Crystal says, who did you say we need to email to add destination?
Go ahead.
CFB Transportation at cfbisd.edu.
It's on the home page. This right there. There's your email for trips, and the destinations. Okay, since we don't, we've kind of come to the end of the questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact any of us. Sean Robinson, he's a resource. Donna Cox, in the Transportation Department, I can help as much as I can. But thank you very much, and thank you for being patient with us as we kind of implemented this new module. We'll still try to continue to improve it as we go along, but like I said, we thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.